It is nice that we got Millard and Lumis EX, but why does the Christmas girl herself does not get an EX version? It is her special holiday after all, so wouldn't it be nice to also get an EX version of her? But, oh well. Millard EX. Originally, I was about to make a statement how this guy is almost as bad as his original Millard despite that this is this EX version, but since he got buff, I guess that is not applicable anymore. The first skill is that his 1-hit Ice AoE that heal is now becoming a 3-hit Ice AoE that heal. The skill is nice and is similar to what Medusa have in the JP version, which is her TP ability. You can bring him in an ice team and use him as both a shield breaker and a healer and also a tiny bit of DPS. Now his new buff skill, which is Sacred Night Spirit. This new skill is what turned Millard EX in the EN version into a good unit rather than a bad unit. The special part here is that if the ally also has HP shield on them, then you also grant damage up to them, which is in EN right now. Damage up as a sword is very rare right now. You will find them in character like Ringyu and Witcher, which is both very good characters, so having damage up on a buff is really good. And not to mention, his new passive also synergizes with this skill, so at the start of battle, you can just grant everyone damage up in the front row immediately. Now, there is a flaw to this skill though, is that after the first turn you're using it, assuming you don't have any more barrier on your teammate, it's kind of hard to reapply barrier on your team so you can apply the buff again. The ways to apply barrier on your team is that it's a single target skill, but single target applying barrier is too slow, so it's too inefficient. The other option is to use his new barrier skill, which grants everyone in the front row except Millard himself if you boost max. But that skill also has a problem where if you use the BP to boost max to grant barrier to everyone, then you won't have enough BP to boost max the buffing skill so you can extend the damage up duration. And the last way to apply AoE barrier is to use your ultimate, which is the most efficient way. But you can only use it once per battle, or twice if you have O10, so there's not really like a great optimal way to do it. Although the fight is short enough that you only need to use the buff skill twice, then maybe use the ultimate once is good enough. So use the buff skill once at the start of battle, and once after you use Millard ultimate. And then last is his barrier skill, which is, it got the addition if you're now boosting max, you will now target everyone instead. In JP he didn't have this, so all his barrier was single target besides his ultimate. Millard first passive is nice because all of his barrier skill is scaled from his HP, not from your teammate HP. So if Millard has 8000 HP, then 20% of that would be 1600 HP. So make sure to stack as much HP on Millard as possible if you want him to go the barrier route. The second passive is a new passive for the EN version. It gives everyone barrier at the start of battle, which is nice and synergized with his buffing skill. And his ultimate is just an AoE barrier with defense buff attached to it. Level 10 isn't mandatory, but if you do get a Millard dupe, then do go for level 10 before A1. And now for my verdict for the new Millard EX. He is good, but is still not good enough to the point where you want to pull for him. The reason the original Millard EX sucks so much was that because its barrier was single target, and that no one really need barrier anyway when the normal region is good enough. The first problem is kind of partially solved by the new Millard EX buff, but the second problem still remain, which is why will you need barrier when region and maybe defense buff is good enough? And so what remain is his new buff, which is the 15% damage up. But the condition for that one is not hard but not easy to fulfill. And also, damage up is really nice, but it's not mandatory. And also, in a few months from now, there's a character named ODO who also gives damage up buff, but in addition, he also gives guaranteed critical, and also, his condition is easier to fulfill than Millard EX, so it's worth more pulling for ODO than for Millard EX. So for Millard EX, if you're someone who wants damage up now and does not want to wait a few months for audio, or you're just someone who likes the nice Christmas boy, then go for him. But other than that, it's still not worth pulling for him compared to many other future characters. Lumis EX is still the same as the JP version, which is she is a hunter who arrow hit lightning. And that's it. The first skill is a single target bow that hit lightning, the second skill is a random target bow that hit lightning, and the third skill is an AoE bow that hit lightning. All of them get an extra hit or 2 if you boost max it. Both of the passive effects are very minimal, so it's not impactful at all, and the ultimate is an 8-hit bow that also hit lightning. So for Lumis EX, her skill is very basic and very simple, but despite that, she's still C play though, not as like a super great unit, but she is a niche unit. Her niche role is that she is a shield breaker. 5-hit AoE bow is still not as common as it is even in JP, and 8-hit on the ultimate is extremely useful, so in job tower, Lumis EX would definitely help you clear the job way faster. And since her bow also hit lightning, maybe in a fight where you try to clear as fast as possible and the enemy is weak to lightning, you would bring Lumis EX, use a skill, and then use her ultimate to help break the shield faster, so you can clear the fight faster. Other than that, her potency and her attack stat isn't too high, so she doesn't make for a really great DPS. So in conclusion, these two are the weakest EX unit out of all of the EX unit, so it's very safe to skip them and to save for something else in the future instead.